Yeah, come on. Can you see what did I write? So hi guys. So many new people joined today. Let's start with the introduction. Just say your name and where are you from, what did you study? KML. Okay. 26%. KML. Yeah. Okay. Next. Okay. Shams. You come in it well. I can't hear you.
My name is Lakshmi Bhandari. I completed BCA.
BCA, right?
My name is Neha.
What's your name? Neha.
I completed
BCA. Are you guys friends? Your background? BSc. Okay. What did you study? Computer science. CSC. 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 What's your name? Huh? Megan. Triple A. You're from?
Andhra Pradesh.
MCA. MCA. First class? First class? First class? What's your name? Chance? Jason? Okay. What did you study? BSc Computer Science. Yeah. CS. Engineering. IT. I mean, engineering? That's CS only. Okay. Well, added here. BSc. First class? When? BSc. BSc. Yeah, you? BSc. Yeah. CS. Santosh. If I take the minimum qualification out of this, I get 12, right? So I'm going to teach you how I'm going to teach for 12 students, okay? So that everyone will be covered in that. If I teach for 12th standard, automatically everyone will be covered out of that. Is it okay? If you don't know, if you don't even know the basics of programming, it's okay. We will start from the scratch. Okay. So, those who joined, I mean, those who came today, why did you join? Why did you join? BSA? So, yeah. Why did you join? Why did you join? Say. To learn full stack. You could have learned in YouTube only, no? Why did you join class? You feel offline is better than offline. Any other reason? Why did you join? You, yeah.
To learn
Full stack. I mean, you could have learned by yourself, no? Why did you join here?
communication.
Communication. Okay. So that you can interact with people. Right. Bro, why did you join? Huh? Skill, top skill. You could have upskilled by yourself. Why did you join? So you? Huh? Communication. If it's a matter of communication and to interact with people, you should do it. Okay, just by sitting, nothing happens. Either you interact with me, interact with your classmates. Because as you guys said, communication is very important, I understand. See, joining my class, one advantage that you get than self-learning is doubt solving. This is the major advantage that you're gonna get in my class. If you don't do this only, then you waste of joining here. You could have learned from YouTube only. Okay? If you don't understand something, for example, you watch some video in YouTube, you don't understand, you pause, you re-watch, you pause, you re-watch, doesn't matter, it will be repeated in the same way. Okay? Why I'm saying is this because if you could have done that in YouTube, then no use of joining here. The point is here, if you don't understand something, you should pause me at that moment only and you should ask me to rewind it different way. I didn't understand it this way, tell me in other way. You have to stop me. If you don't do that and if you don't ask questions, then waste of joining here. Okay? If you feel like you have understood and if you don't ask question, and when I ask question to you, you must be able to answer. That means, still if you couldn't able to answer, then you are kind of faking it yourself, which I don't want you guys to do it. If you do that, you will be in the same place only, you won't be moving forward. Because so many things are there to pending. I mean, so many pending things are there. As I said, I will be starting from this time. I mean, basically, if I go back to 12, it's like going 5-6 years back. Covering 6 years of things in just 1 or 2 months, you understand the level of things that you're gonna learn. You will be involved in so many topics. So many things will be there. Basically, you should be ready for it. 6-year data I'm putting in just 2 months means so much of things I will be putting. Sometimes you will feel that I'm going very fast, but understand we have to go in that pace, because so many things are there to learn. In a very short term, if I had 1 or 2 years, then I would have gone very slowly. So less time. Many of them already graduated. Many of them are yet to graduate in 1 or 2 months. You have to find for a job. For that, I'm saying finding job is very hard right now. Very hard means very hard. You should be in top level. Top level means at least you have to be in 1% to top 10%. If you come from 0 to, from 100% to coming down to 1 to 10% is very hard. You have to put so much of time into this. Just by attending my class, nothing is going to happen. You have to spend time on yourself. You have to practice it yourself. Unless, no use. Okay. So this is important. Don't forget this. From the first class to the last class, this should maintain. Otherwise, waste of time. And for those who don't know about me, my name is Abdul Manaf. I'm 25 pass out. Right now I have worked in 2 to 3 companies including MNC and startup. After that, I thought like my skill is not used that much in the companies. That's why I left it and started my own company. The company name is Scientix Tech Private Limited. I lead backend and product lead. Okay, I handle deployments also. So this is about me. I'm very much expert in Python, backend development and deploying. Okay, I'm not a good coder. I'm a very good architect. I know things, how things works. That is more than enough. You don't need to know every single line of code. Nothing like that. You should know how things work. If this doesn't work, you should be able to tell this is the place where it got wrong. This is how we should fix it. Okay? If you know this much, then good. Knowing every line by line is not a big deal. You should know how things actually works, and you should be able to bring out the product. Basically, you can use any AI, ChatGPT, Claude, right? It will give the output. You should be able to judge it. No, you did wrong, you did correct. You should be in that level at least. Okay. So yeah. So we gonna learn. First we gonna learn Python. Then we gonna learn Django. In Django especially, I'm not gonna teach full stack. I'm gonna teach only backend part. Full stack for front end, you will have different classes. In backend, the main thing is creating APIs. Okay? To create APIs, you should know backend, you should know Python. Before Python, basic things you should know. How actually data travels in the internet, how these two things are connected, all these basic things I will say. Okay? So the end goal of this my class is creating APIs. Okay? There are many different types of API. We will be dealing with only REST API. So this will be our roadmap. My class will be less theoretical and more practical. Okay, I talk less, you should work more. That's the whole funda. So, in last 2 class, I have explained a few basic terminologies, how software works, how they are connected, etc. I will repeat once again for those who joined today. Okay, a quick recap. You take any software, 3 components will be there. One is front end, one is back end, one is database. Okay, you take any software, any application, 3 components will be there. Front end, back end and database. I will be dealing with this part. Okay, you will be learning this part in my class. But you should know what happens here. Basic things. like what exactly happens here and how this thing is connected to this particular component. Okay, so front end is something that we interact. Whatever we deal with the UI, that is front end part. Whatever we see, that is front end. For example, if we are using a video player, if you are watching a movie, we are using one software, maybe a VLC. VLC software you most might have know, or MX player. What you see, that is UI. Okay, just a UI part. UI is what you see, user interface. One more thing will be there in the front end, that is API layer or data layer or logic layer. For example, you take any application, like for example Instagram. In that, what you see is a UI part, the buttons, all the posts, all the pressable things, all those are UI. Inside that, you see some data. You see your name, you see the photos, you see you'll be able to edit your bio, you'll be able to post it. So this interaction will be happening inside this layer, API. Okay. The data which you see in your application will be different from her application. Right? Data will be different, username will be different. Everything will come from the backend layer, and internally these two will be communicating, and that will be shown in the UI. The data won't be there in the application itself. It is coming from somewhere else. Data is coming from somewhere else. That somewhere else is this one, backend. Okay? Your data will be stored somewhere else. This layer will pull it. Give me that data. Okay? API layer will pull it and it will show to us. Okay? You see the reels, and all those data, this API layer is keep on pulling. Give the new reel. That's what you see. You press the like button. That's an interaction you do with your application. You press the like button, immediately from UI layer to API layer it is saying the user pressed the button. Now you should tell the backend that user pressed it, save it somewhere. Because the like count we are counting, no, that's why it will come here, your like will come here, like will go through the internet, it will be coming here. Like it will be processed here, then it will be stored permanently in the database. Okay? So API layer not only just pull the data, it also give the data. Got it? Maybe during the sign up we enter the forms, Google form we enter it. We are giving the data to the backend. So this does two things. One is getting the data, one is posting the data. Okay? So API layer, whenever we need, we will ask the data. Whenever we give the user give the input, we will be sending it. Okay. So this whole part we can call it as a client. Okay. The front end part, whatever we see, we can call it as a client. Client may be mobile phone, laptop, anything. Wherever the request starts, that is client, and wherever the request goes, that is server. So this interaction is there, no? Going data, coming data, going data, coming data. This kind of architecture is called client-server architecture. As I said, when something happens, we click it, data will go there, the processing happens, DB comes into the picture, will be saved, and if we need something, we are pulling it. Here one cycle is going on. That cycle is called request response life cycle. Okay. Client will do the request, server will send the response. Client always request, server always responds. Keep that in mind. Client always request, server always responds. Any doubt till here? Any doubts? Is it clear? Okay, is it clear? Okay, so these are the different components in any software. So here we see a gap between a front end and back end, or a client and a server. We have a gap here. We need someone to take our data and deliver it to the server. We need someone in between to do the job. Because this is separate entity, this is separate entity, we need someone to do the job in between. That someone in between is called API. We gonna create this one, that middle thing. That API logic, everything will be written inside this packet. Okay, it will be interacting with the database, the two-way, like this. Okay. All the API logic will be written in the backend. This API is something that comes in the between, which takes our data and it will give to the server, and whatever server gives as a response, it will take and give it back to front end. Okay. This is API. API full form is Applications Programming Interface. So it's a interface between client and server, or a front end and a back end. Is this much clear? Any doubts, guys? Is it clear? Is it clear? Can you repeat? No, I'm asking. Can you repeat? Are you guys please? Say about so what API does. What is the job of API? Say it's okay. Whatever you understand, say. Even if it's wrong, it's okay. Not an issue. Yeah. Say bro. Say what API does. I just repeat it. What I said, you can repeat it. Say everything is there in the board only. You can say. Try it out. Don't hesitate. No one is going to judge you, okay? Say what you understood, say. Try bro. What's there to try? Say, come on. What language do you speak? You can say in Tamil. உங்களுக்கு என்ன புரிஞ்சுதோ அது சொல்லுங்க. சொல்லுங்க. See, understanding is important. If you are not able to convey, it's okay. First, I should need to understand whether what I am saying, are you able to understand or not. That's the reason why I am asking you. Nothing to scare you. Okay. Say, உங்களுக்கு என்ன புரிஞ்சுதோ சொல்லுங்க. சொல்லு. புரியல கேட்கணும்ல. நான் எவ்வளோ வாட்டி கேட்டேன் புரிஞ்சுதா என்ன புரிஞ்சுதோ சொல்லுங்க. It's been around 30 minutes I'm talking. Say what you understood. Anything. It's okay. Say. Sorry? Say I can't hear you. See, if you are not able to answer me only, how will you answer the interview? Right? You should not hesitate. You should have confidence, bro. Say. Shall I come near you and say in my ear? Can you say? What is job of API? What is API doing here in the board?
It's data from brain and give it to the back end and and it will store to database, or it give text data from database and then put it to the UI.
Correct. Simple. No? Can you repeat now? No, bro. ட்ரை பண்ணுங்க. சரி, இது ஃபண்டமெண்டல். இதே புரியலன்னா வேற எதுவும் புரியாது. அதுக்கு தான் கேட்குறேன். என்னாச்சு? என்னாச்சு? மைண்டு எதுக்கு? சரி, okay. So this is one of the example. If you don't understand things, you should ask at that moment only. This very fundamental thing. The whole entire class will be based on this particular API. If you don't understand what it does, what is the job of it, then no use. Okay. So this is what API do. It will take the data from the front end, it will give to the back end. Whatever back end gives, it will show in the front end. Okay. Now, how the API will look like? You might have seen the URL. This is https google.com. You might call this as a URL. It's actually, we can call it URL, but basically this is API. This is how the API will look like. When you create an API, the end result will be like this. This is how it will look like at the end. Okay. So this actually called API endpoint. Okay. One API will be having so many components. Out of that, one of the component is API endpoint. Okay. So, for example, if one API will do multiple jobs, and we can create API for multiple purpose. Out of that, I have explained two purpose. One is get, to get the data from the backend, and to post it. Okay. When we want to get the data from the backend, we will be using this method. These are called API methods. Okay. If you want to use the API for getting the data, use this one. If you want to use the API for posting it, use this one. Okay. There are other methods also, we will cover it later. This is the like main two purpose of API. To get it, we will be using this. To post it, we will be using this. To post means we are giving something to the backend, right? We have API endpoint, we have method, but we are giving something to the backend. We need to write it somewhere. One separate space will be there. It is called request body. Okay. So when we need to give something to the backend, we will put inside this request body and we will submit it. So all the data, for example, if you are doing the login, how the request body will look like. This type of data, this type of format is called JSON format. This is a data format like how we have Python file, like how we have image file, JPEG, MP3, MP4. Same like this is of type JSON. This is one of the type of data. This is how the JSON will look like. It will be having the key, it will be having the value. The key will be mentioned like this inside the braces, and the value we should pass it. When you give this to the backend, it will check internally, the logic will be checking internally, and it will say whether the OTP and phone number is correct or not. If it is correct, then login successful. If it is wrong, then it will say invalid OTP, something like that. Okay. So this is how we do the post request. We will be having the API endpoint. We should say this method we should use. When we use post method, we should be most of the time we will be having the request body. Okay. Once you submit this, the back end, this entire thing will be happening in the front end. This entire thing will be happening in the front end. We'll go to the back end. In the back end, the processing happens. This to logic checking happens whether the OTP is correct or not. After that, we'll send the response. The response will also look like this JSON only. That is called response body. It will look something like this. Let me press this. Message login successful. This is the one complete API call so happens. Endpoint method we should have, we should pass something in the body, and after passing something it will go to the backend or server. In the server, logic checking happens, it might interact with the database, then it will send the response. This login success, whatever said, this will come to the front end again at API layer, then it will be shown in the UI to the user saying login is successful. And like how we write the code in the front end, after login successful, we might be rerouting to the home page, something like that. Okay. So this is how API flow is. We mostly means 90% of our time will be developing this part. This will be done by the front end engineers. If you go to front end class, there you might do. But in my class, you will be doing this part. After the API call comes to the backend, here what the logic is, how we gonna check this, how we gonna interact with the database, how we gonna send this response, everything we will be dealing with this part. To develop this, we have so many ways. In that one of the ways, here Django REST framework. We will be learning this one. We have other fast API, we have Flask, we have Java Spring Boot, we have .NET, we have. In that, we have so many things. In that, everything concept will be same only. Just that syntax will be different. Once you learn one framework, that is more than enough. Okay? Then you can easily jump. We will be learning this one, Django REST framework. So that will be taken care. This particular part will be taken care by Django REST framework. To learn this, we should know the Python. Okay. Any doubts still here? Yeah. Any doubts still here? Any doubts? Okay. So to develop this particular part, I said Python is important, right? To Python to function, we need to know few more things, few more basic things, how Python works. Okay. Python is a programming language. To run the Python in our system, first we should need to install it. First step, install Python. Okay. Currently Python is under 3.15 something, but we will be working on 3.12.10. I will send you the link. We will create a WhatsApp group. We need to install this particular version. Delete every version, whatever version you have, delete it. Let's everyone have a same version. Otherwise, things which will work in my machine won't be working in your machine. That's why let's everyone follow this particular version. It's very stable. Okay. Then after installing Python, you should have VS Code. Do you guys know what is VS Code? Yeah. It's there we write code. It's called IDE. Okay. Integrated Development Environment. IDE means, see, writing code we can write in Notepad also. Not an issue. In the Notepad we can write and we can save it as something.py. The Python file will be saved. But why we need VS Code is because it will give the auto suggestion. We can have multiple tools integrated to that, and it might throw some syntax error. There only we will get to know this is the error. You can fix it right now only before running the code. So that's why we use VS Code. So everyone install this also, and after this yes, 2 things is enough. Now in Python, you guys know how to run any Python file. What is the syntax to run any Python file? Yeah, correct. To run any Python file, just write Python space file name. Very important. Python space file name, whatever the file name is. The rule here is this file name shouldn't have the Python's keyword. Should not have Python's keyword. One example for Python keyword is like for if and import, something like that. Okay. So first we need to create a Python file, then we can write something. For example, let's have one line of code in that. Just print welcome. To print something in Python, we will be writing only this much. Print welcome. There is no import, nothing like other programming language. Okay, just write this and you do Python file name. Let's say this file name is w.py. To run this, you need to do Python w.py. That's it. This welcome will be printed in your terminal. Okay. But this is not the correct way to run any Python file. We need to have one more step before. We need to create a virtual environment. Very important topic. If you dealing with Python, you should know what is virtual environment. Okay. So let's say we get in virtual environment? Let's understand what is environment. Let's take two animals as an example. One is elephant. Another one is penguin. Where does an elephant lives? Forest. Okay. Where does penguin live? Yeah, forests. Both the animal is in the earth only. Earth is like a global environment. Okay. Earth is equal to global environment. Within Earth itself, we have so many different climate, different conditions, ice condition, heat condition, normal condition. We have so many things. Different country, different level of sunlight will be exposed, and different temperature, right? For example, to penguin to survive, let's say it need one is let's say less than 0 degree Celsius temperature. Okay, penguin need 0 degrees temperature. Elephant need let's say 30 degree, 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. These two are in earth only, but elephant need this condition, penguin need this condition. Right. So these two, to elephant to get this condition, it survives, it lives in the forest, because suitable environment for that elephant is forest, because required food, required sunlight, required whatever for elephant will be found in that particular forest. But for penguin, it won't find in forest. It needs somewhere in the Antarctic region, right? Somewhere in the Antarctic region, so that it survives. Similarly, one Python project will be having different requirement. For example, one Python project might need Django 3rd version. Second project in the same system, second project might need Pandas 4th version and Django's 5th version. Both projects should run in your same laptop only. Your laptop is like Earth here. Your laptop is a global environment. If you install, for example, this is project 1, this is project 2. For project 1 to run, you need Django's 3rd version. For project 2 to run, you need Pandas 4th version and Django's 5th version. If you install this version, this won't run. If you install this version, this won't run. So we have a conflict here. Different project requirement is different. So if you just install this version in the global environment, only this project you can run. You can't run this project. Every different project has different requirement. Okay, so that's why we need to create a separate environment for that, like how the elephant created its environment for forest, for penguin how the Antarctic region, like that we need a separate environment. For example, this is a whole laptop of yours, we need a separate box here, like isolated box, so that nothing outside will affect to that. Here project 1 will come, here project 2 will come, here project 3 will come, everything will run smoothly. To create such box, that particular concept is called virtual environment. To create that box, The command is python -m then name. Any name you can give here. So this is the command to create a virtual environment. For every different project, you need to create a separate boxes. Okay. To create it, this is the command. Just by creating is not enough. You need to activate it. This is the first step, creating. Second step, activating. Any Mac user here? Mac users? You Mac user. For Mac, this is the Mac or Linux. This is the source. Then win. This is for Windows. First one. This is for Mac or Linux. Okay. Once the first step is installing Python, this version. I will send you the link. After that, you should have a VS Code. Once you have VS Code, you should have a separate, fresh, new folder for writing your project. To create any project, first step is you need to create a virtual environment. This is how to create. To activate it, just by creating is not enough. You need to activate. You have to activate it in this way. This when means this file name. Okay. This should match. This should match. Whatever you give here, that should match it. That's it. Okay. After activation, whatever the requirement for that particular project. For example, we need Pandas 4 version, you do pip install Panda 4. If you need Django 5, pip install Django 5. This is the command to install some package. Pip install Django. Once you have successfully activated, in the left side you will see something like this. Here your path. Should see something like this in the left side. That means activated properly. We will do the practical session tomorrow. Just know this is the thing.
Which command is used to check which version is already installed?
To know what all installed in your particular environment, you need to freeze. Whatever installed inside this particular environment, if you want to check what all installed and with the version, this is the command. All these commands are very important. This is not optional, you must know this. This is not like interview question. I mean, they won't ask how to activate virtual environment, how to install packages. They won't ask. This is very fundamental things, okay? If you don't know this, you are not even able to sit in the interview. That much fundamental things these are.
Python name you mentioned, right? The project name should be same in second one also, right?
This name, whatever you write here, that should exactly come here.
For source also match same, right?
So source is a keyword. This should come here. That's it. Source is a keyword. I mean, we will do the practical session tomorrow. You few people will get some error. We'll sort it out. But theoretically you should know this is how we need to create. First thing, install Python, create virtual environment, activate it, installation. This is package installation. Because we don't need to write everything from scratch in Python. Most of the thing will be already there exist. We need to know which package has that thing. Just have to download it, means install pip install, and we should know to use it. In Django also most of the thing is already there. 95% already there. We just need to know how to use it properly. Yeah, face any doubts? Turn it on. Let's switch. Turn that light on. Is it video? Switch it on. not changing, isn't it?
I think you will have to change the resolution.
No. I mean, this is how we connect usually. It's the maximum. It's the maximum focus. Check if it is scanning. Open your phone. Yeah, everyone job is good.
That is
I will be sharing notes on this.
both will be there.
I'm not in that group. Yeah, I'm not in that. Guys, first uninstall everything, okay? To uninstall, you need to go to control panel. You need to go here, control panel, programs and uninstall. Okay. After that, you should come to this link I have sent you. In this, don't click any of this. Here, somewhere here, you will see 64 bits Windows that you should install. This one. Okay. Any doubts? Do you guys know how actually a code works, how code actually runs properly? Take an example of Python code, how actually it runs inside the machine. Any idea? You know? So, here we have Python code. Which is written in English. English and numbers, okay? This Python code will be, I'll say, this is how we won't understand what machine understands. This is the machine. Basically a laptop. Okay. Machine will understand only two things. 1 and 0. Okay. 1 means high voltage, 0 means low voltage. Yes, no, that's it. We only understand that thing, but we don't understand this. We understand in English. We need someone in between. Basically a translator. Whatever you give, it should translate and it should be converted into 1s and 0. This is called binary. Okay. We need a translator here. For Python, the translator is called interpreter. Whatever we write in the English, the .py file, then we run Python something .py, it will go to the Python interpreter, it will translate and convert into machine language. Basically zeros and ones. Okay. So, in other programming language, we have compilers. This is a typical interview question. What is the difference between compiler and interpreter? One line answer is like, compiler will run the code everything at once and give it to machine, it will translate it. But interpreter is like, if you have 100 lines of code, line by line, first it will check, first line is it correct or not, see any syntax error, any logical error. First line it will check, okay, pass, second line, pass, third line, pass, fourth line, failed means, suppose if you have 100 lines also, if the syntax is wrong in the fourth line, then code will be stopped executing then and there. This kind of line by line execution is called interpreter. Only few programming language uses interpreter. Python uses interpreter. Compiler is not like that. It will scan entire code and it will list 4th line wrong, 50th line wrong, 60th line wrong, 90th line wrong, fix everything. Python is not like that. Just line by line it will go, wherever it got stuck, it will stop executing it. So this is how a code will run. Internally, to go even more depth conceptually, this particular, see, any system you take, any machine you take, 3 things will be there. 3 things. You take any server, any laptop, 3 mandatory things will be there. In that, one is RAM, one is ROM, another one is CPU. 3 things. Very, very, very important 3 things. Whenever I say RAM, whenever I say memory, both are same, okay? Memory means RAM. RAM means memory. Whenever I say disk, that is same as ROM. Disk ROM. The difference between these two is, this is a permanent storage, disk is permanent storage. Even if you switch off your laptop, data will be there. Memory is not like that. Your actual code will be running in the memory, whatever the application, whatever live apps that you are using, the laptop or phone, everything will be loaded in the memory or RAM. If you switch off, everything will go down. All data will be wiped off. So this is like temporary storage. When you compare the speed, disk is slow, memory is fast, very fast. The reason why we have memory is because of the speed only, because CPU is extremely fast. CPU and processor, core, all are same, okay? Whenever I say processor, core, CPU, all same. CPU is extremely fast, disk is extremely slow. Okay? For example, this is our code, the actual code, something.py. This will be stored permanently in our laptop. That means this is stored in disk. Our code will be stored in disk. When we do Python space something.py, that particular code, that particular file, this file will be loaded into the RAM. Will load into the RAM. First it will be there in the disk. So if you switch off, that particular file will be there. Okay. When you come back, and when you load, when you do Python something.py, this particular file will load into the RAM. Through RAM, one by one, the instruction, whatever logic you write, do this, do that, whatever code you write, that will be actual execution happens here in the CPU. RAM will be keep on giving the data to the CPU. The actual execution, the mathematics, the logic, everything will happen inside the CPU. Okay? Our code will be in the disk. When we run, it will load into the RAM. The RAM later will give to the CPU. This is how our code will run. You take any system, these three things will be there. You should know what these three things actually does. Permanent storage, code execution, whatever the application will be loaded into this. Here the actual execution happens. Suppose if we didn't have the RAM here, then CPU won't be able to match the speed of disk. This will give one item at a time, but CPU need 1000 data at a time. Very slow. That's why we have a RAM in between. That's the main reason why we have a RAM. The data will be already loaded into this. This memory and this CPU can match the speed almost, so that it will sync. Otherwise, the system will be very slow. That's the reason why we have a RAM. You might have noticed, if your laptop is very slow, you add one more RAM, it will get faster. And we need one more thing to run our Python, that is operating system. Without this, nothing happens in our laptop. This is the main head of the system. Operating system is important. Doesn't matter, Windows, Mac, Linux, anything. Okay. If someone asks what are things that we require to run any Python project, you should say we need virtual environment. We should say we need Python environment. Python installed in it. We should have operating system. We should have these many hardware components. If you have all these things, if you have the interpreter, then Python can run. If you don't have one of this also, Python won't run. everyone install Python and VS Code. Then tomorrow we'll do the practical session, how to set up virtual environment. Any doubts? If you don't have any doubt, you can leave.
Will the project that you are running which access will be sufficient to
1 hour, 4 videos. You can leave.